Hey there, Scoobies! What's My Line is an important episode. It's one of a handful of two-parters in the Buffyverse. But, whereas the others act as season openers and closers, What's My Line Parts 1 and 2 act as an almost mid-season break, and ushers in a change in the overall show. We open on the Scoobies testing for the career day to see what their overall future careers look like. Her heart is full of anxiety and panic, while her spirit is ever optimistic.
No, it's just these people can't tell from one multiple-choice test what we're going to be doing for the rest of our lives. It's ridiculous.
I'm kind of curious to find out what sort of career I could have.
Cordy appears to be excelling at answering questions that by their nature are self-serving, while ably getting a few digs in at Xander.
Cordelia Chase, always ready to give a helping hand to the rich and the pretty.
Which, lucky me, excludes you.
Meanwhile, Buffy vocalises the vapidness of the test.
Do I like shrubs?
That's between you and your God.
A commentary on the useless notion that these metrics matter when looking at potential careers. Drusilla is playing with tarot cards while Spike is trying to decipher the books they stole to try and cure her. Despite being soulless, there are many occasions where vampires have shown to have affection for one another. None more so than here.
Forgive me. You know I can't stand to see you like this.
Spike shows genuine care and affection for Drew. His concerns would lead you to believe that his affection could even be considered love, in a way. I think it's a fair argument to say that just because they don't have a soul doesn't mean that they can't feel. I and others have made the argument for Xander as a representation of Buffy's heart, and that matters of the heart can be selfish. Spike is all passion and feeling, and he loves, albeit selfishly, as is better displayed later. One thing that I find interesting here is Drew's condition. We were told that she was attacked by a mob and thought dead, but actually she is here in Sunnydale and just weak. But in this scene, Spike references,
And we're running out of time.
We've not been given an indication as to why she's taken so long to heal, and furthermore, why she may be running out of time. Vampire the Scholar thinks he has something, and Drew realises the books are a code. Just on a personal note, I like the music here before we go into the intro credits. Spike and Drew dancing to this music gives an almost Disney princess feel. Buffy is on patrol when she comes across our scholar digging around the crypt. Taking out the muscle, she finds that he's ran away, and so she heads home where she finds Angel waiting. There's an odd back and forth here.
Buffy, you scared me.
Now you know what it feels like, stealth guy.
Angel being scared, and Buffy coming through the window when her mum is out of town. This is, of course, part of the build-up. Angel and Buffy's relationship has been sort of in a holding pattern at this point, and the dialogue, frustrating as it is a good representation to the audience of the mood towards it. You could even say that these weirdly placed lines factor into the episode's title.
Well, then you know it's a whole week of What's My Line, only I don't get to play.
Angel seems to think it's about him, and Buffy comforts him.
I'll never be a kid.
Okay, then, a regular kid and her cradle-robbing creature of the night boyfriend.
You know what? At least she said it. Changing the subject, Angel offers Buffy to go skating. The next day, Xander and Cordy are checking out their careers while Buffy and Willow are gossiping about relationships as usual. It turns out that Willow wasn't on the list, and funny enough, her response,
But I handed in my test. I used a number 2 pencil.
tells you all you need to know as to why. Buffy joins Giles in the library to get an update on the previous evening and gets a scolding. Equally frustrated, she foreshadows the purpose of this two-parter.
If you don't like the way I'm doing my job, why don't you find somebody else? Oh, that's right. There can only be one. As long as I'm alive, there is no one else.
Spike is presenting the pickings from the raid to Drew, who can feel it. From the first point of meeting Drusilla, it's evident that she's not quite like other vampires. Spike refers to the Order of Taraka, and Drew shows the tarot card revealing the representations of them and infers that they will be coming to her party. Drew's prophetic visions are becoming unquestionable, and adds validity to the fan theory that she may have been a potential slayer, thus the reason for this skill. As we see in the show Angel, having the sight doesn't necessarily make you a slayer. But this theory does make for a great synergy, in that Angel made it his mission to make her insane before turning her, ensuring an immortal torment, and how he later obsesses over Buffy in the same way. At school, Willow and Xander run into Principal Snyder and cover for Buffy. Willow is dragged away by scouts for a high-end tech firm, and while she waits in luxury, she meets...
Canapé.
The show has made it abundantly clear that Willow is very smart, but all we know of Oz is that he plays guitar and isn't as shallow as his bandmates.
I'm not picky. You're just impressed by any pretty girl that can walk and talk.
She doesn't have to talk.
This reference highlights that he's also intelligent.
We're extremely selective. In fact, only one other Sunnydale student met our criteria.
Buffy and Giles are arguing of the merits of being a Slayer. As with all her interactions with the Scoobies, the interaction can be seen on different levels. Slayer and Watcher are arguing about destiny and the day job of being a Slayer, and the different ways of viewing it. I empathise with Buffy here, as I have had career points where it has been thought that I should do one thing because I was good at it.
Well, now there's a thought. Have you ever considered law enforcement?
But little thought was actually given to whether or not I wanted to do it. You can also see this as the fight going on inside of Buffy's mind, represented by Giles. Her frustration at being told that she needs to be a certain thing based on who she is. You could use this as an allegory for a conversation that many young women are familiar with. When he is settling down and having kids, often thrust upon them by their elder generation, with a preconceived expectation it's what they want. This conversation is also at the heart of the two-parter. Is it a job or a calling? The Order of Taraka arrive. The Scoobs are discussing Delac and what it is that Spike and Drew are up to. Giles surmises they need to research, and Buffy looks to bail, her spirit siding with her as always.
She should go. You know, gather her strength.
Buffy is skating while, I assume, waiting for Angel. Interesting factoid, if you didn't already know, Sarah Michelle Gellar was a competitive figure skater as a kid, and this scene could be cathartic for both Sarah and Buffy. This is cut short when she is attacked, and Angel shows up to help her out. Drew is seeing events as they play out, and as normal she is speaking in code.
Time is ours. It brings the Slayer closer to them.
We are led to believe that she's referring to Buffy, but this could also be a reference to Kendra. Angel is investigating the body when he notices the ring.
I'm serious. Just go home and wait until you hear from me.
I know he's worried about her, but this does come off a little patronising. Buffy is concerned about the cut on Angel's eye, and he recoils at it. Angel tries to hide his demon from her, the part of himself that he's ashamed of.
I didn't even notice.
Removing the romantic sentiments here, this is one of Buffy's flaws. Angel has been trying to explain to her that he's not a good guy, that he's dangerous. The vampire part of Angel is the thing she is meant to be fighting, but as we see, she's willing to look past it. And this is willful ignorance that will in turn lead to Angelus and her getting hurt. Don't mistake this observation as a critique of her. It's what makes everything much more compelling. It's easy for me to say, well, you made a mistake and you should have heeded his warnings from my nice easy spot on the viewing chair, looking in. This is one of the parts about youth and especially young love. Buffy takes the ring to Giles, who agrees with Angel in relation to the danger.
Bowling is a vicious game.
That's enough, Xander.
He explains that the Order only care about their bounty and will keep coming until they complete the job.
They won't stop coming until the job is done.
This creates tension for Buffy as she walks through the school corridors with a feeling of paranoia and dread. This leads us to her first interaction with Oz.
Try it.
Sorry,
He's a tense person.
This fear continues as she wanders into the darkness while Giles and Willow continue to research. Buffy goes to Angel's, but he's not there. I hadn't noticed this before, but she climbs into his bed in a fetal position, looking for comfort. This could be foreshadowing for when she finds herself back in this place in a future episode. Angel, meanwhile, is visiting Willie the Snitch when Kendra mistakes him for, well, a vampire. They fight and she leaves him to his last sunrise. Giles and Xander head to Buffy's and then wake up Willow when we learn...
Willow.
Don't warn the tadpoles.
Don't warn the tadpoles.
I have frog fear.
Spike and Drew realise that Angel's the key. Xander and Corley break into Buffy's house. Buffy wakes up to an attempted haircut, and we get our first...
Don't make me do the chick fight thing. Chick fight.
Slayer fight, and we end on a cliffhanger.
I'm Kendra, the vampire slayer.
As part one of a two-parter, this suffers from the same fate as many episodes of this style. All the chess pieces are being moved into position. Due to this, the pacing can feel a little slow. That being said, it still has its merits. Like all episodes of Buffy, they are primarily a character piece, and this helps to inform Buffy's hero's journey. But all of this, including the next part, is still about positioning the characters for the second half of the season. And here, things get really interesting.